Here are the answers for the 112 review preview. The first question asks you to use any method to find the points of intersection of f of x equals 2x squared minus 3x plus 4 and g of x equals x squared plus 5x minus 3. One way to do this would have just been to graph them. You could use Desmos, you could use your graphing calculator. Another way to do it would be algebraically. So you would do 2x squared minus 3x plus 4 equals x squared plus 5x minus 3. Then you would move everything to the other side. So I would subtract x squared. So I'm going to get an x squared. I would subtract 5x. So I'm going to get a negative 8x. And I'm going to add 3. So I'm going to get 7 equals 0. So then you would factor it. And when I factored it, you could box and diamond it or old school factor it. I got x minus 7 and x minus 1 equals 0. So I know that my x values, x is going to equal 7 or 1. And then I have to plug those back in. So when I plug them back in, I got 781 and 1, 3 as my two intersecting points. Problem 85 asks you to solve each equation for x. For the first one, I have to do a little distributing. So I'm going to get negative 2x minus 8 equals 35 minus 7 plus 4x. So then I'm going to combine 35 and 7, and I'm going to add 2x to both sides. I'm going to add 2x to both sides, and I'm going to get a negative 8 equals 35 minus 7. It's going to be 28 plus 6x. Subtract 28 from both sides. So I get a negative 36 equals 6x divided by 6. So I'm going to get x equals negative 6. For the next equation, the first thing I have to do is actually cross multiply. So I'm going to get 7 groups of 8 minus 3x equals 5 groups of x minus 4. And then I'm going to distribute. So I'm going to get 56 minus 21x equals 5x minus 20. So add 20 to both sides. So I get 76 minus 21x equals 5x. Add 21x. So I'm going to get 26x equals 76. So my answer is going to be 76 over 26, which simplified is x equals 38 over 13, or you could write it as a decimal. The next problem says make a complete graph of the function, try to make that a little bigger, of the function the square root of x minus 2 labels x and y intercept and described its domain. So I'm going to start by plugging in some numbers for x. So I plugged in 0, 4, I can plug in 1, 9. Notice I chose all perfect squares. So 0 squared, square root of 0 is 0, minus 2 would be negative 2. Square root of 4 is 2, minus 2 is 0. Square root of 1 is 1, minus 2 is negative 1. 9 squared is 3, it's going to be positive 1. So I would graph 0, negative 2, be right there. 4, 0. 1, negative 1, 9, 1. So my graph kind of goes up like this. So then it asks me for my domain and range, and my domain has to be x is greater than or equal to 0. Because x can't be less than 0, or it'd be a negative number, and I can't take the square root of a negative number. And y has to be greater than or equal to negative 2. The next problem says write and solve an equation or a system of equations to help you solve the following problem. A cable 84 meters long is cut into two pieces so that one piece is 18 meters longer than the other. find the length of each piece of cable. So I wrote this equation. I know that the first cable plus the second cable, which is x plus 18, has to equal 84. So I got 2x plus 18 equals 84, minus 18, 2x equals 66. So then I know that one of my pieces is going to be 33. So then I do 33 plus 18, which equals 51. So I know the lengths are 33 meters and 51 meters. The next problem says Carlo got a pet snake as a birthday present. On his birthday, the baby snake was just 26 centimeters long. He had been watching it closely and I noticed that it had been growing 2 centimeters each week. Create a table. So I know I would start at 0. So that would be when it was 26. And it tells me that it grows 2 centimeters each week. So on week 1, it would be 28. Week 2, it would be 30. Week 3, it would be 32. And so on. So I counted up by, I think I counted by 5s, so that 0.26 would be about right here, and then it's going to just go up like this, approximately. And then my equation is y equals 2x plus 26. That way, at 0, I have 26, but at 1, 2 plus 26, and so on. Then it says if the snake continues to grow at the same rate, when will it be 1 meter or 100 centimeters long? So to do this, I just took my equation and did 2x plus 26 equals 100. And then I solved. Minus 26. So 2x equals 74. Divided it by 2. And I got x equals 37. So it would be at 37 weeks. And then you should have written where you could see it in each representation. So if I took off a point, that's y. So you should have told me that in the table, if I just kept going, I would eventually get to 100 centimeters. If in the equation, I could solve it. And in the graph, same thing. If I just keep going out in my graph, eventually I should get to 100 centimeters. The next problem says, what is the value of y allows you to find the x-intercept? For each of the equations below, find where its graph intersects the x-axis. So you should write each as an ordered pair. This part right here is where most people lost their point. They wrote the correct answer, but did not write it as an ordered pair. So the answer to the first part is what value of y is when y is 0. So a lot of you actually put in when x was 0, and that you found the y-intercept, not the x-intercept. So in A, I would replace y with 0 and get 3x plus 6, subtract 6, and get negative 6 equals 3x. So I get negative 2, so it's negative 2, 0. Plug in 0 for y in this one, so x equals 5 times 0 minus 10. So x is going to equal negative 10. So the correct answer was negative 10, 0. For C, we're going to plug in 0 for y, so 0 equals x squared. Square root is 0, so you take the square root of both sides, so you get 0 equals x. So 0, 0 is our ordered pair. 0 equals 2x squared minus 4, so you add 4 to both sides. 4 equals 2x squared. Take the square root of 4, and this, actually before you do that, we have 4 equals 2x squared, so we divide both sides by 2 first. So 2 equals x squared, so it'd be the square root of 2. So the correct answer would be plus or minus square root of 2, comma 0. So there's actually more than one place that it would cross the x-axis. So then for E, plug in 0. We get 0 equals the square root of, or x minus 5 to the second power. Take the square root of both sides. So you get 0 equals x minus 5. So we add 5. So our ordered pair is 5, 0. And then in the last one, we plug in 0 equals x cubed, negative 13. So we add 13 to both sides. So So 13 equals x to the third power. Take the cube root of both sides. So the correct answer is the cube root of 13, 0. That would be our answer. Next problem, it says make a complete graph of the function 2x squared plus 4x minus 6 and describe its domain and range. So I just picked some values for x. So I picked -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. At -2, it would be -6. At -1, it would be -8. At 0, it would be -6. At 1, it would be 0. And at 2, it would be 10. So then I started plotting them, and I figured out at -2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. -2, 6 is actually right there, and then -1, -8 would be right here. And then 0, -6. Right away in the table I saw that this was where my vertex was going to be, because it started to repeat itself. So my graph should look like that. The domain is -infinity is less than x, which is less than infinity, or all equal numbers. And the range is y is less than or is greater than or equal to -8. The next question is to solve each equation below for the indicated variable. So you had to do some literal equations. So in the first one, y equals mx plus b. First thing I would do is subtract b, so I'm going to get y minus b equals mx, and then I'm going to divide both sides by m. So I get x equals y minus b divided by m. Part b, I need to first divide by pi, and then I get a over pi equals r squared. So I need to take the square root of it. And a lot of people got to this point here, but you forgot the plus or minus. You have to put that plus or minus there. So the plus or minus the square root of a over pi was the correct answer. For c, you're just going to divide both sides by LH. So w is equal to v divided by LH. D was a little trickier. So first you had to get 1 over y by itself by subtracting 2x from both sides. So then we get 1 over y equals 3 minus 2x. Then you had to multiply by y. So you would get 1 equals 3 minus 2x times y. And then you had to divide both sides by 3 minus 2x. So the final answer was y equals 1 over 3 minus 2x. That one was a little tricky. The next problem is we are creating a multi-representational representations for a function. So we have to make an xy table, a graph, and an equation. The function of g of x equals 2 over x. Then make at least 3 summary statements. So I'm not going to write my 3 summary statements. I'll give you guys some ideas. But the equation should have been the easiest part because it was given to you. So then you're going to plug in some numbers. You know that x can't be 0 because I can't divide by 0. So I plugged in 2, 1, -2, 4, -4. So I get 1 for 2, 1, 2 for when x is 1, -2, -1, 4, 1/2, and -4, -1/2. So when I graph it, and I'm just going to sketch it, my graph ended up looking like this. So my summary statements could have been, it doesn't touch 0 in either graph. I could have said that my asymptotes are at x equals 0 and y equals 0. I could have said what the domain was. I could have said what the range was. So you need to make up 3 summary statements for that problem. So problem 93 says, suppose you want to find where the lines y equals 3x plus 15 and y equals 3 minus 3x cross. And you want to be more accurate than your graphing calculator or graph paper will allow. You can use algebra to find the point intersection. So since y equals 3x plus 15 and y equals 3 minus 3x, what must be true about 3x plus 15 and 3 minus 3x when their y values are the same? So the answer is they're equal. They must be equal.